I'm almost done crocheting. The second before last stitch was a front post double crochet. Okay, now you're in your jacket that you're crocheting, depending on the rows that you have made, it might be a back post double crochet. This doesn't mean that your project is wrong, okay? So don't get nervous about it. So this is the second before last. Now in the last stitch of the row, which is my double crochet over here, put your hook and work 1 half double crochet. Okay, chain 1, cut the yarn and fasten off. Now what I did on my project was I attached stitch markers so I know where I'm going to attach my buttons, okay? And one of the stitch markers came out. Okay, well, that's okay. So what we want to do is you're going to count from the beginning where you have your first buttonhole, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. In the 10th stitch, I have a buttonhole. So this means on the other side, I'm going to start counting, and on the 10th stitch, I'm going to attach a stitch marker because this is where I'm going to have to attach my first button so it aligns with the buttonhole. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. In the 10th stitch, I attached my stitch marker, okay? So keep doing that and have your stitch markers on, or you can do it in the end so you know where to attach your buttons. Now we're going to start crocheting around our sleeve. And for all these children's sizes that I have on my chart, you will not have to work any decreases on the sleeve. You're just going to work it straight, and then at the end, we're going to make the rib stitch. The reason that we do not want to make decreases on the sleeves for the children's sizes and the baby sizes, it's because the sleeve is already small, and if we make decreases, we're going to make it even narrower. And if you want to wear the jacket to your kid with a long sleeve shirt on the inside, it's not going to be comfortable. So we do want to have a little wideness on the sleeves, but for the adult sizes that I have on my chart, we will need to work decreases on the sleeves. And the way that you're going to work your decreases is that you're going to start your first row with 1 stitch in every stitch. In the next row, you're going to half double crochet 2 together in the beginning and 2 together in the end. Then you're going to work a total of 3 rows, 1, 2, 3 rows with 1 stitch in every stitch. In the 4th row, you're going to repeat your decreases. Half double crochet 2 in the beginning, half double crochet 2 in the end. Again, 3 rows with 1 stitch in every stitch. In the 4th stitch, work 2 half double crochet together in the beginning and 2 half double crochet in the end, together in the end, okay? By working the decreases this way, you are going to probably going to be working your decreases up until the end of your sleeve. And the reason we want to do this is because we need to have a nice symmetrical closing on your sleeve, because if you go ahead and work decreases in every row, your sleeve is going to shrink up in the upper arm, okay? And if you keep, and since all the decreases are going to be made on the top, then you're going to have to work 1 stitch in every stitch up until the end, and you're going to have a sudden narrow on the top, on the upper arm, and then it's going to seem as if it's opening in the bottom when you start crocheting 1 stitch in every stitch. So the reason we work our decreases in every 4th stitch is because we need to have a nice symmetrical closing on our sleeve. Okay, so let's start crocheting. Okay, so open up your sleeve like this, and we are going to start on the left side right over here, and we're going to finish on the right side over here. So we're going to crochet all around, and we are going to crochet an open sleeve. I'm not going to crochet slip stitches to finish every row. I'm going to have an open sleeve, and once I finish, I'm going to turn the inside out and close it in the bottom by working slip stitches. Okay, so let's start. Attach your yarn on the left side right over here. Okay, take the yarn, pull it through the stitch, chain 2, and the 2 chains in the beginning of this row always count as my first stitch. Okay, put your hook in the next stitch and work 1 half double crochet. Next stitch, 1 half double crochet. Next one, 1 half double crochet. Okay, so keep working 1 half double crochet in every stitch all around, and once I reach right over here, which is going to be my last stitch, I'm going to turn my video back on. I have completed crocheting all around, 1 half double crochet in every stitch. Now I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2, and I'm going to turn my work. Now, comparing to the beginning, from here on, every time I start a new row, I always start with a chain 2, and I always start crocheting from the first stitch, okay? But if you're crocheting for the adult sizes, for the bigger sizes that I have on my chart, as I mentioned earlier, here, from this row on, you're going to start creating your decreases. So when you want to close the 2 first stitches together to form a decrease in the beginning of a row, you're going to chain 2, skip the first stitch, put your hook in the second one, and work 1 half double crochet. And look how nice it decreased over here. See how it makes this little steepness over here? This is because we decreased 1 stitch. Okay, then work 1 stitch in every stitch and close the last 2 stitches together. Once I reach the end of this row, I'm going to show how to close the last 2 stitches as well. But this is how you want to work your decreases when you work for the bigger sizes. Okay, so chain 2, and for the children's sizes, as I mentioned earlier, we always work 1 stitch in every stitch. Okay, so 1, next stitch. So keep working 1 half double crochet in every stitch all around. And if you remember in the beginning, when we attached the yarn for the sleeves, the first 2 chains that I attached, I counted them as one of my half double crochet. So I'm going to finish crocheting on top of those 2 chains. Once I reach the last 2 stitches over here, I'm going to turn my video back on to work them together. I've completed crocheting all around, and now this will happen only in the second row after after we begin crocheting for the sleeves. The last 2 stitches are my half double crochet and the chain 2. From here on, the chain 2 will not be your last stitch, because we always work the chain 2 to raise up the row, and we always start crocheting from the first stitch. So because we chained 2 and then we started crocheting from the second stitch, this is why I count my chain 2 as one of my half double crochet. So if you're crocheting an adult size jacket, this is how you're going to decrease in the end of your row. Okay, yarn over once and put your hook in the second before last stitch. Yarn over once, put your hook in the second chain, counting from the bottom to the top. Okay, grab the yarn and pull it through the stitch, and I have a total of 5 loops, which I'm going to close together. Now, always you're going to work the increase in the beginning of the row in the same exact way we did, and in the end of the row in the same exact way we did over here. Now, if you had a total of 20 stitches in the previous row, this means that in this row you're left with 18, because you subtracted 1 from here and from 1 from here. Okay, from here on you're going to work now 1, 2, 3 rows with 1 stitch in every stitch, for a total of 18 stitches, for example. And in the next row you're going to work your increases, where you're going to be left with 16 stitches. Okay, well, of course you're going to have more stitches, but I'm just using those numbers as an example. But because we're crocheting a children's size jacket, okay, I'm going to crochet 1 half double crochet in each of the last 2 stitches. Okay, I frogged one more. Okay, so this is the second before the last stitch. Work 1 half double crochet, and the last stitch, the second chain counting from the bottom to the top, work 1 half double crochet. Okay, so this was the end of row number 2. Now chain 2 and turn your work. So chain 2, turn the work, and always start crocheting from the first half double crochet. Now from here on we're gonna continue working off camera, working 1 stitch in every stitch, and always the end of your row is going to be the half double crochet right here in the end. I'm never going to work in the chain 2 anymore from here on, okay? So this is always going to be your last stitch right over here. So now in the chart that I have in the beginning of the video, for this size and for all the sizes, I mentioned how long we need to crochet the sleeve. This means that you're going to measure from under the arm over here, and for this size I mentioned about 17 centimeters. So you're going to measure from under the arm down here a total of 17 centimeters, an extra 17 centimeters that I'm going to crochet for the sleeve. Okay, I don't want to count the 17 centimeters from the neckline because look at how short my sleeve is going to come out. Okay, so measure from under the arm, and I need a total of 17 centimeters for the sleeve, but I'm going to stop crocheting at about 15.5 because I need about 1.5 to 2 centimeters to work the rib stitch in the end of the sleeve. Now, what I have come up to realize is that from here to the bottom I need 17 centimeters, but when I measure the neck, the sleeve over here from the neckline to the bottom is 9 to 9.5 centimeters. So 17 that I'm going to crochet plus 9.5 is 26.5 centimeters, which is equal to the total length of the jacket measuring from the neckline going to the bottom. Okay, let me open it correctly. From the neckline going to the bottom is 26 centimeters. So I have measured many shirts of my daughter to see if this is true, and it actually is. From here to the bottom and the total length of the sleeve, they're equal. So if you're making a jacket in reasonable length, okay, now if you make a jacket that's below your knees, you're not going to make your sleeves as long because you're going to be humongous. So if you're making a jacket that reaches up to your lower waist, this is how you want to measure it. So I'm going to keep crocheting now off camera, and when I turn my video back on, we're going to see how to continue. I have completed crocheting my sleeve so far, and as I mentioned before I turned my video off, I want it to be around, around 15.5 centimeters. Now, counting my rows from the top, from over here where I started the first row of my jacket up until the end, I have a total of 29 rows. And as I mentioned before I turned the video off, our sleeve is going to be open like this because we didn't close by working slip stitches. So now we're going to close to work the seam over here on the sleeve. Okay, so I'm going to turn the inside out, and I'm going to bring the yarn through the sleeve as well, so it's easier for me to join. So what I want to do is I want to work a slip stitch, grabbing each stitch in the front and each stitch in the back of the sleeve to join them together. Okay, so after the last half double crochet, I have worked one chain, And now put your hook under the first half double crochet of the front piece and the first half double crochet of the back piece and join by working a slip stitch. Okay, now once you have worked your first slip stitch, just make sure you even out your stitches so you're slip stitching correctly the correct stitches together. So what we want to do is we want to work a slip stitch in every stitch going downwards, and make sure you're not crocheting too tightly. This way your project is not going to shrink. Okay, so you just want to have regular medium tension. Okay, so keep slip stitching both sides together going downwards. And this is what we have as a result so far, and I want to keep working slip stitches up until I reach the end over here where I join the last stitches together on both sides. And once I do that, I want to put my hook under this big hole over here to work the last slip stitch. This way I'm not going to have a small hole under the arm. This way I'm closing correctly from the bottom to the top. Once I work my last slip stitch right in here, I'm going to turn my video back on. I've completed working my slip stitches going from the bottom to the top. I've worked my last slip stitch right here in the big hole, then chain one, cut the yarn and fasten off. Okay, and this is how the seam looks on the inside. So now go ahead and turn again the inside out so we're seeing the good side. And this is how the seam looks on the outside, on the good side. And this is what we have as a result so far for the sleeve. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to join yarn right here on this seam. I'm going to attach my yarn to work a few rows of the rib stitch on the sleeve as well. So go ahead and attach the yarn and chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and starting from the first half double crochet right here, work 1 double crochet all around. Okay, so 1 double crochet in every stitch. Now once I have worked 1 double crochet all around the sleeve, and I have worked my last double crochet right here on the last half double crochet of the sleeve, I'm going to turn my video back on. I've completed the row. I've worked 1 double crochet in every stitch all around. Now put your hook in the third chain counting from the bottom to the top and work your slip stitch. Chain 2, and now starting from the first double crochet, start working a front post and a back post. We're not going to do this step by step because we have already seen more than one time throughout the project how to work the front posts and the back posts. So the first stitch is going to be a front post. Second stitch is going to be a back post double crochet. Next stitch is going to be a front post double crochet. Then a back post double crochet. So keep working 1 front post, 1 back post all around your sleeve, and once I reach my last stitch, which is going to be either a front post or a back post, I'm going to turn my video back on. I've completed crocheting my rib stitch all around, and my last stitch was a back post double crochet. So put your hook in the second chain counting from the bottom to the top and work a slip stitch, chain 2, and starting again from the first stitch, start working a front post and a back post. We want to keep the same direction of the stitches. So the first stitch was a front post double crochet, so I'm going to work a front post double crochet. The second stitch was a back post, so I'm going to work a back post double crochet. So keep working 1 front post, 1 back post all around. My last stitch is going to be a back post, And then I'm going to turn my video back on to see how our sleeve looks completed. I've completed crocheting all around. Now put your hook in the second chain, counting from the bottom to the top. Work your slip stitch, chain 1, cut the yarn and fasten off. Okay, and this is how our sleeve looks completed. Okay, now we do want to go and work the other sleeve as well in the same exact way. We want to work the same exact rows, okay, and for the rib stitch as well. Now when you work your jacket for adult size, for example, we do want the rib stitch to be about twice as long. Okay, it's going to look a lot nicer on the wrist when you have a long rib stitch down here in the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to work my second sleeve of camera in the same exact way. Once I finish, I'm going to turn my video back on. We're going to see how to adjust our buttons, and we're going to see how our jacket looks completed. I have completed crocheting my baby cardigan. This is how it looks like, completed from the one side to the other. Okay, now what's left to do is to attach the buttons, but because my husband and I, we make buttons from olive trees. They're not ready yet. They need, you know, just a little fining over here and to make the holes. I will adjust, you know, I'm going to make the 2 holes, and right here where I have my stitch markers, I'm going to take blue yarn, the yarn that I made my jacket with, and I'm going to take it in both holes. I'm going to tie a knot here in the back, and then I'm going to weave in the ends in the stitches on the back side of my jacket, and I'm going to attach the buttons all through. And look how nice the natural buttons look with the jacket. They go with every color you will crochet with. They have such a nice result on handmade projects. Okay, so this is how our cardigan looks like. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and if you like the video, please press like and leave a comment. Thanks again. Bye bye.